Hello, Kate Bush has always existed at the crossroads of art, mystery, and provocation, so it is hardly surprising that images of her wearing a bikini have sparked debate and curiosity across generations. Rather than being about shock for its own sake, these pictures tend to be discussed as moments where a fiercely independent artist challenged expectations about how female musicians should present themselves in public. Bush emerged in the late 1970s with an image that blended vulnerability and strength, and any glimpse of her offstage look inevitably became a canvas for cultural interpretation. For some viewers, the bikini photos felt daring, even inappropriate, because they clashed with the era's narrow ideas of modesty and seriousness, especially when applied to women who were celebrated primarily for intellect and creativity. Others, however, saw nothing scandalous at all, only a young performer comfortable in her own skin, enjoying the same freedoms long granted to male rock stars. This split reaction says less about the images themselves and more about the audiences projecting their assumptions onto a woman who refused to fit neatly into any box. Kate Bush's career has consistently emphasized control over her narrative, and that context matters when considering these pictures. She was never marketed as a pin-up, nor did she rely on overt sexuality to command attention. Instead, her visual choices, whether on album covers, stage costumes, or casual photographs, functioned as extensions of her storytelling. A bikini, stripped of heavy symbolism, could simply represent normality, reminding fans that behind the ethereal voice and literary lyrics was a real person living an ordinary life. Media framing, however, often leans toward sensationalism, exaggerating the idea of shock to drive attention. Headlines amplify outrage, while quietly ignoring Bush's agency and artistic intent. Over time, such portrayals have softened, as audiences grow more accustomed to separating an artist's body from their work. What once seemed controversial now reads as a small footnote in a career defined by innovation, privacy, and refusal to be commodified. Ultimately, the conversation around Kate Bush's bikini pictures reveals far more about societal discomfort than about the artist herself. They challenge viewers to question why certain images provoke judgment, and who gets to decide what is appropriate. Seen through a modern lens, these moments feel tame, even empowering, symbols of autonomy rather than scandal. In the end, Kate Bush remains what she has always been, an artist on her own terms, whose legacy rests not on fleeting controversy but on the enduring power of imagination, courage, and creative freedom. Those extra discussions also highlight how fame distorts intimacy, turning ordinary moments into public property. When fans revisit such images today, many approach them with nostalgia rather than outrage, recognizing a snapshot of youth and a cultural climate very different from the present. That shift in perception underscores progress, imperfect but real, in how audiences allow women artists complexity, privacy, and choice.